Microsoft has recently published a new cybersecurity course and it's completely free. So in this video we'll dive through it quickly and see if it's actually worth your time. The whole course is contained in this repository on GitHub, which will be linked in the description below, and it's targeted at beginners to explain the key security foundations. You can see that there are many modules covered, which we'll go into shortly. But first, I just want to mention that as the entire course is on GitHub, it carries several advantages. You can easily fork the entire course repository to your GitHub account. This lets you tweak the code and tackle the challenges at your own pace. Secondly, you can also then go to store the repository for easy access later on. I see this as a massive advantage because it's just quick access when it comes to your learning. Right, so let's dive into what the course contains. First, you'll start off with an intro at each stage. This is where you'll learn from Microsoft themselves. It's not just anyone creating a course for you, it's obviously Microsoft, a well-known company. Then you'll go into written guides, which will give you a deep dive into each topic with a detailed written lesson. That lesson will always finish off with an end of module quiz that will just test your learning and make sure you can move on to the next topic without having to go through it. After that, you're also really nicely provided extra resources if you want to do more learning in that area. This is always good as a beginner because it might not cover everything that you need to know, especially if you're just using it as a free resource to prep for another exam. Then you can go to these extra resources at the end and do some more further in-depth learning. So make sure you also take a look at the bottom of those sections. You'll see where this exactly is shortly. So looking at the module specifically, you can see many different things are covered, which I think is really great for something that's free. You can see that you start off with basic security concepts, which then goes into identity and access management fundamentals. After that, you slowly go onto network security fundamentals and then application security. Finally, then once you've covered all of that, you'll move on to infrastructure security fundamentals and AI security. All of these are really great modules that I believe you should be covering to understand the key concepts of cybersecurity, especially if you're at the beginning of your career. But in terms of the main topics that they are covering, let's have a look at what they are and what they include. So you'll firstly dive into the CIA triad. This is where you'll get to dive into core concepts like the CIA triad and learn the difference between risks and threats. And the reason to why you need to understand this is because it helps you prioritize security objectives and implement appropriate controls to safeguard information and assets. The CIA triad is a foundational concept that everyone in cybersecurity should understand. After this, you move on to security controls, as I mentioned. This is where you essentially get the lowdown on what security controls are and the various forms that they come in. So for example, you can have preventative controls like firewalls, or you can have detective controls like intrusion detection systems. And why is this important for you to know? Well, it's because it allows you to understand a systematic approach to managing cybersecurity risks, and you learn how to protect critical assets against a wide range of threats, which is really important for large organizations. After this, you'll move on to what I call a bit of a buzzword at the moment, zero trust. So you'll start to understand how it's so significant in today's cybersecurity landscape, because at the moment we're definitely seeing organizations move to a more adaptive and risk-aware approach, where they're adopting this zero trust architecture. So your awareness around this topic will really benefit you, especially if you can show employers you've done a lot of learning in that area already. Finally, you then overall look at key concepts in cyber. So that covers things from identity, networking, security operations, infrastructure, and data security. And you can go through things like incident response, threat detection, all the way to securing infrastructure. And that might include things like hardening servers. Understanding all of these key concepts keeps your knowledge broad, and at the beginning of your career, this is where you want to be. You want to show that you're adaptable and that your knowledge spreads across various domains. It's good to cover all the key concepts and not just be specifically focused in one area, especially at the beginning, like I just said. So now that you know everything about the course, what should you do next, and should you actually consider putting your time and effort into this course? My personal opinion is that this is a big fat yes, especially if you're at the beginning of getting into cybersecurity or you're interested in the area. That's because it will hopefully give you a powerful vote of confidence if you're looking at other types of certifications or you're just looking at broadening your knowledge. It can help you set up for learning the foundations for a number of beginner certifications, like the Microsoft Certified Fundamentals course or the ISC 2CC. All of these beginner certifications will have somewhat of an overlap between them, so it's a good tool to use, especially because it's free to learn from and go for these further certifications down the line. Now, don't get me wrong, the course itself won't be enough to impress employers for a job specifically, but it will help you improve your eagerness to learn in these areas, and it's always good to show them that you're challenging yourself and you're learning in your own time by finding these types of courses. Next, it will also benefit you in terms of your interest. So if you're not sure what you want to do or you're not sure what you want to focus on, doing this will provide you with the opportunity to see what other cybersecurity concepts are out there and exactly what you're interested in, as there might be a topic that you come across that you've not come across before that you might realize you're actually more interested in than you thought. So doing this will be a good free way to help you realize what you might want to specialize in the future. Hopefully that's been interesting for you, and if it has, do join our Discord community where we discuss and I send lots of free content like this all the time, and you can join and ask other people questions who are also in the same place as you looking to get into cybersecurity. If you enjoyed the video, do leave a like down below, it massively helps it out, and tell me in the comments if you're considering doing this course.